most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Those are the words of Nelson Mandela. Another scholar says, a man without education is like a building without foundation. Have you been told that education is the key, and later to find out that it could be the greatest scam? Have you been told that the warmer the bed, the darker the future? What is the reality about statements like this? Today we discuss matters concerning what is real and true education, what values is it meant to pass on, and of course, as Ugandan, we shall discuss the Ugandan curriculum and see how best we can use it to our advantage today and the days to come. Thank you. As we discuss all this, we are visited by an educationist by the name of Mukisa David, who we are glad to have from the science department. He's a teacher of biology and agriculture. Having all that background will be helpful since he has the biology and the vocational agriculture. We hope to get the best. We are glad to have you, Mr. Mukisa.
Thank you, sir.
Beyond the name, our viewers would like to know you. Who are you?
Yes, to the viewers of the programs of Learn with Brandon, my name is David Roy Mukisa. I am a teacher. As he says, I teach disciplines in science and vocation, that is biological sciences, dealing with life sciences,
Yes.
and then agricultural sciences, production from animal sector, and then crops. So those are my areas of concentration.
Thank you so much. You, basing on your experience so far in your education, how do you gauge the teaching career?
The teaching career, I would think it is the best in the world.
Okay.
It would be the best in the world. Always a person would wish to join.
Yes.
But with a few funds in the institutions we work with,
Yes.
and the way some of the government officials sometimes fail to interpret it, it is sometimes seen as one of the worst considered professions and careers. But I want to think it is one of the best, if not the best of all,
Yes.
for a reason that it has been true always that no society will develop beyond their education. That is a very true statement.
Thank you. That's good to begin with. No society
can
will
never develop beyond their level of education. Yeah.
What do you mean? Do you mean, okay, what do you mean by their level of education? Help us expound on that.
I will start with the primary level that everyone can understand. Just in a society where you have most of people holding bachelor's degrees,
Yes.
the standard of life, the way they do their things, the facilities they have are totally different from any other society where no one or one person holds a bachelor's.
Oh, okay. I see your comparison.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, help us now paint a picture. What is true education? What is real education? What is education supposed to be?
Right, thank you. It has been severally defined education as the acquisition of knowledge.
Yes.
But true or real education extends beyond that. It involves things like critical thinking.
Yes.
Creativity.
Yes.
Problem-solving skills, and things like emotional intelligence. Like it develops an individual as a whole.
Yes.
So true education shouldn't be looked at as simple as acquisition of knowledge.
Yes.
It extends far away from that.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that introduce us to what true education should be able to impose or impart on an individual? I've used the words carefully. Impose to suggest that sometimes someone doesn't know what they want, but because of the system they are going through, they wake up and realize it, or the other one really wants it and they still get it. So what is true or real education supposed to impose or impart on whoever goes through it?
Thank you very much. That takes you back to what I've been giving you as the outcomes of real education or true education. Things like creativity can only be gotten from true education. Remember, we live in an ever-changing world where situations will always change, and therefore you expect to change the responses to such situations. Moving from agriculture to industrialization to other sectors, we have an ever-changing community. So because of that, we need someone who is creative enough to change with the changes that come along the society. So that can only be developed in what we call true education. A skill like problem solving. Of course, there's no way we can run away from the problems. There are problems that are coming. By the way, we also create our own problems. In our societies, we've been able, with our developed brains, we've been able to create our problems that will disturb us even after years. We've known how to use agrochemicals, which after just a few years, like 10 years, have become a problem.
Whether we are alive or dead, they are still harming the environment.
Exactly, just like DDT that was banned in 1972. The challenges are still with us. So we have problems, whether we have created them ourselves or they have come by other factors. So we need someone who has been developed by true education with a skill in problem solving to exist in such a society. Problem solving, creativity, and then instead of acquisition of knowledge, we need now a life learning process that can even develop someone's emotional intelligence. You'll be aware of your own emotions and at the same time the emotions of others around you.
It's quite intriguing. Do you need to go to school to be able to identify problems and maybe even fight about them?
Not necessarily. However, the way you are going to interpret the problems and the way you are going to solve them depends on the level of education, on the learning that you have. You know, we've learned from various societies and aspects of life. We learn from media, we learn from peers, we learn from the communication networks. We learn from a number of things in our society. But the way we shall learn after going to school and attain education is totally different from someone who doesn't go to school. And therefore, the response to the problems, the response to the changes in the society will always be different.
So something matching with Marcus Aurelius, who says that it's not about what you go through, but it's about how you personally imagine or give it value. So what I hear you say is that the interpretation matters, and it matters because it depends on the level of education. So how long does someone need to develop this skill, say in problem solving, creativity? If there is how long, anyway, how long should it be?
I may not determine. That varies from person to person. You know, the way we react to situations is just similar to the genetic principle of the physical outlook being predicted by our genetic makeup and the environment. So the issue is our mental abilities differ from person to person. That is one of the genetic aspects that I can talk about, that the way we shall learn things and the time it takes for us to learn may differ from one person to another because of the interpersonal differences.
Genetic makeup. You call the other thing phenotype. Your world of biology. Okay, thank you so much. So what is your say when Nelson Mandela says education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world? Should we say the world has changed?
Sure, the world has changed.
Okay.
There are changes that have been brought to the world because of education. And that is a very correct statement. It's the most powerful weapon. Weapon is used in
Fighting. Yeah.
So, fighting the negative changes, fighting for the best of your life must always come with education as the best tool. Never can you have any other tool that can beat education.
Okay. So which other tools are there available that could be used to change the world?
To change the
that
world.
Could be trying to fight education.
With education. That is a very tough question.
But at least I remember when you say interpretation still depends on the... definitely, I don't think I interpret things the way I did after my primary 7.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So, and I don't think I will interpret the things the same way 5 years after now.
Yeah, by the way, that's what I've told you, that learning will come from different aspects of life.
Yes.
It is true that even when you do not have any other level of education added to you,
yes,
it is true that after the 5 years, after the 2 years, you still have another added advantage of interpreting things right,
okay,
or even solving most of the problems
yes,
quickly than others, because you are learning from other aspects of life apart from what is provided in classroom environment. For example, people that have always followed your programs, have
yes,
learned with the programs organized, learn with Brandon. I
yes,
want to think there's a way they are understanding a number of things in a different way they were understanding them 2 or 3 years back.
Sure.
Because today you're teaching about marriage, tomorrow you're teaching about youth.
Yes.
Today we're about education. I don't know what you're bringing about.
Money. Yes.
So that is learning outside the classroom. And we have always known that learning can take place outside the classroom, which is not the case with education.
Yes.
So this is much more about learning than the education. So the education that we attend to must be able to bring the learning that we want in problem solving and attempting the world around us.
Okay. So, I get that education is not obtained only through schools.
Rather learning.
Oh, learning. We are now in learning. Okay. Thank you so much. Recently, Uganda, where we are, saw it fit to change its educational curriculum. The natural structure has not changed. We still depend on some nursery schooling, 7 years of primary, 6 years or 4 secondary, and 3 or so years of university. So what had changed? Because you earlier had said we live in a changing world. So what had earlier changed?
Now with change from the so-called old curriculum to the current one, the educational reforms came in the way we attempt learning within classroom environment and around the classroom environment. Among the things that changed, in the old curriculum to start with, it was content-based to start with. Content-based.
That's what you called knowledge, eh?
Yeah, content-heavy. It was about how deep someone can cram things or have a lot of things on their end. No wonder that's one of the reasons. That's why people had a lot that they knew, but they wouldn't use the same to solve problems.